Hi, I'm Andrea Klim, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today is July 15th, 2015, and we are going to be having a very interesting topic today, which is the most important one, but there's also another very important topic that I'm going to be going into, which is breaking news. But for today's show, I want to talk a lot about the Jupiter and Venus alignment of 2015. And as you know, at Turn to the Stars, my intention is always to raise the awareness of my community to the quality of holistic healing. And the interesting information that I talked about earlier is the breaking news, which is also very significant in the astrological community and the astronomy community, which is of the rover that is just yesterday at 12 noon finally reached Pluto on the outskirts of our solar system. And the footage of that of those pictures has just started coming in last night and today, and actually on nasa.gov this morning I saw a picture of Stephen Hawking taking a look at the pictures online of the actual footage from the rover. So that is so interesting because of the Pluto-Uranus square that we are experiencing currently and have been for the last couple years, which is causing massive change and transitions in our world, in our solar system, in our individual lives. And I also want to sort of give you a little update on some news at Turn to the Stars. And as you can see on the screen, that at Turn to the Stars we are having this Saturday, July 18th, our 30th and 5th year anniversary of facilitating holistic fairs at the Yard Restaurant here in Manchester. And we have had the wonderful opportunity to film today Turn to the Stars at the executive banquet facility. Beautiful, beautiful gardens surrounding me, and there's a mourning dove that's speaking to us as I'm recording the show. And I just want to mention that this fair has a theme. Every one of our fairs, all 30 of them that we have facilitated as a family, have a theme. And the theme of this fair is take care that you be well. And in Latin, we say that cura ut valias. And so take care that you be well. Very, very important to all of humanity and all of life on Earth at this time. And there is going to be 2 fundraisers that are going to be held during the course of this fair, which is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Yard Restaurant in Salon A and Salon B, which is located at 1211 Mammoth Road in Manchester, New Hampshire, right here where we're recording today. But the first fundraiser is that I am donating an hour-and-a-half reading as a fundraiser for the Guilford, Vermont food pantry. So that's going to be very exciting. There'll be tickets available at our registration table and also at our very special grid. We have a dual crystal grid, which is our highlight of the fair, along with all our other special, talented and gifted readers and healing therapists and vendors. And so donations from that fundraiser for an hour-and-a-half reading with me tickets will be sold, and all proceeds will go to the Guilford, Vermont food pantry. The other fundraiser is going to be for the 12-foot by 12-foot dual crystal grid. And this grid was designed specifically for the entrance of this new energy that we are experiencing here on Earth. I describe this energy as another system that is coming in right next to our solar system. And if you look on NASA's website, they talk about Actually, it's NASA's website, and Health and Science magazine had an article on May 22nd, which tells us about the brightest galaxy discovered. And NASA states the brightest galaxy they've ever discovered, blazes with the light of 300 trillion suns. And so if you go on nasa.gov, .wise, you can read about this system, which is moving in right beside us. It's incredible energy. I have named it the Libra system because the direction of humanity, the direction of our solar system is to find love, peace, harmony, and balance. And that is in all things. Relationships. We are being tested. We are being asked to use these gifts that we have of communication to find that peace and that balance. And as you know, astrology studies the systems around us in order to understand the systems within us. And my husband pointed out to me that one of the most read pages of the Boston Herald is the horoscopes. Not a big surprise. And so coming back to today's topic, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the biggest planet in our solar system, which it really brings into the light of our being, the understanding of different cultures, different belief systems, and Jupiter, and having it right beside Venus in the constellation of Leo, presently as we speak, is a very, very, very special thing to be experiencing. The energy of that conjoining of those two planets. Jupiter and Venus are, in astrology, we call them benefics, meaning that they bring benefits, they bring beneficial energy. In the constellation of Leo, it really brings to light our children, our individual expressions. I last year coined this when Jupiter stepped into the constellation of Leo. I was intuitively aware that this was the beginning of the awakening of the protectors of the Holy Grail. And by that I mean people are being awakened to the child within them, and that our children, how important they are to our future, and how important it is that we realize that we're each special in our own way, and that we need to nourish and protect and care for our children and teach them, because they are our future. And so this Jupiter-Venus alignment also brings up some history. Every single planet in our solar system, whenever it is in a particular degrees, it brings up subconscious memories of the past. And you know how you're maybe going somewhere and suddenly you realize that you are having a memory of something that had happened a long time ago, or you don't even know where this memory comes from. That's because every single planet in our solar system carries a memory of days gone by, of other lifetimes. So it is very interesting that history does repeat itself, and we are in a period of real growth and evolution. And I actually have a picture that I'm going to put on the screen right now, which is a picture of our solar system with the sun and the planets moving through time. And this picture was actually drawn by A.T. Mann, and A.T. Mann is a nationally known architect, professional astrologer for 40-some years, author of 16 different astrology books and spiritual books. And you can see in this picture that the sun is at the very center of our system, and all the planets evolve around the sun. The sun I refer to as the light of our beingness, our God, our light of vitality, and so it's at the center of everything. So that cylinder that you're seeing shows the reincarnation cycle, which is the same as what NASA's picture looks like. NASA actually has this same exact picture, which is very significant and very interesting, because By the next slide that I'm going to show you, our solar system pattern is the same as our DNA pattern. It's the same cylindrical pattern, and the patterns of our life from lifetime to lifetime, that is reincarnation, holds the memories of where we have been. So you can see that in this picture, the DNA of the human being matches the exact picture, cylindrical pattern of our solar system. And the next picture I'm going to show you is a picture I took when Venus was it's basically when the moon was in the constellation of Leo. And you can see by this picture was taken on June 20th. Just as the sun went down, you can see the sun going down. You can see the moon, and you can see Jupiter, which is right above the moon in this picture, in the constellation of Leo as it appeared in the night sky on June 20th. And then right above that, to the left a little bit, we can see Venus in the constellation of Leo. So it was a really special energy to be recognizing. And then I can show you a chart. Now, the astrological chart of that night of June 20th, you can see highlighted over in the right-hand corner of this astrology chart on the screen, the alignment of the moon, Jupiter, and Venus, all in the constellation of Leo. So relationships and the special qualities that are associated with those relationships was really highlighted during that night, and that alignment between the moon and Jupiter and Venus, all in Leo. Leo is a very dramatic sign and very proud, and it really does highlight the heart and the heart-centeredness of all of life. And this Jupiter and Venus alignment brings our attention to dates in history, and as I talked about before, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit further moving forward, but right now I'm going to play a little video for you, which is a picture of a double rainbow that appeared right over my house on, this was on July 1st, on the full moon that was in Capricorn, that was right beside Pluto in the constellation of Capricorn. Extremely powerful and transformative for everyone on Earth, and you know, actually was a real signal that we would soon reach Pluto, and that everybody on a subconscious, unconscious level was being sort of pinged. That change was evident, that there was no choice. But when as you're watching this video, and we're going to play that right now, the song that came to my mind when I was preparing this show is from the Disney show. You know, the lyrics go, "When you wish upon a star, makes no difference where you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you." Whenever you see a rainbow, I've heard people say, make a wish because that dream will come true. And with Jupiter and Venus in alignment, it's a very, very special energy. So if your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, suddenly it comes to you. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. When a star is born, they possess a gift or two. One of them is this: they have the power to make a wish come true. So as you watch that video, I hope you think about your wishes and how lucky we are to be alive, and all the wonderful things and the special things that we have in our life, and how fortunate we are. And so now I'm going to go back in time, in history, to a time when we had the same type of energy, and history is actually repeating itself through this Venus-Jupiter alignment. I'm going to go back to the time of 1278 to 1341 BCE, when Venus and Jupiter were at the exact same degrees which is 21 and 22, and that was the period of the archaic hero kings. Religions were highlighted: Hinduism, civilizations, Egypt and Chaldea, and individuality. It was the time of the kings, the golden age. And I actually have a slide which I'm going to put on the screen right now, which shows you, I found this, and it is actually an Exodus timeline, and it brings to light, you can see where I have highlighted the period of the historical period between 1278 and 1341, and it was the time of Ramesses II and Ehud, Deborah and Eli was born. And so there was, you know, this is just kind of an interesting historical picture to present to you. And it was also the time of the pharaohs and the pyramids and the golden age, as I said before, where gold was abundant. And we are actually coming into a period in time such as this, where the abundance of our children, we are sort of on the flip side. Even though historically back then it was gold, now it's the children and the things that we're creating, which are so special. And the story, Leo always tells us a story about where we've been, where we're going. It is the romantic sign. It is the sign of special qualities, and the actor, you know, so all of those things are highlighted with this alignment. And this was also the time of King Tutankhamun. He was born in actually 1341 BC, and his life was in ancient Egypt. He died in ancient Egypt. His full name was Tutankhamun, and he was buried in Egypt. And his parents were, let me see, he actually married someone called Ankhesenamun, and his parents were the younger lady Akhenaten. And that's just some history on this period in time. Also, I have a picture which I'm going to put up of the astrology of ancient Egypt. There's a picture showing the pyramids, the 3 pyramids in Egypt. And also, as I said before, this period in time was highlighted as the golden age. So when you see 2 planets come together, such as Jupiter and Venus, it is telling us that there is a union of something very special happening around us. And I actually have a chart which I'm going to put on the screen right now, and it shows July 1st on the full moon, the Jupiter-Venus exact alignment at 21 degrees, and we're almost to 22 degrees of Leo. And you can see that highlighted on the bottom of the chart. And it was actually setting off what I call a grand trine, or an emerald soul type of energy in fire. Very, very lucky, very, very courageous. People were inspired to awaken to what was needed in their lives emotionally, in their families. They were awakened to what the truth was, and that there was really no choice but to recognize it and open their hearts to accept it. So that was really, really wonderful to have that type of thing happening around us, because it inspired us to open our hearts. Now, I'm going to cover a little bit astrologically about July of 2015. And as I said before, today is July 15th, and Venus is still conjunct Jupiter in the setting sky. You can see it at night. Astrologers around the globe are talking about this special alignment. And right now, Venus is exactly conjunct Jupiter and very bright in the western sky after sunset, because Venus is still almost as far from the sun as it can be. To address one misconception that is floating around the web, this is not the Star of Bethlehem. This is the first of 3 Venus conjunction alignments with Jupiter this year. This one is at 2122 Leo, the degree of a world server, and it is an indication of the return of the soul energies to the central life form, the human form, or as we or you may call it, self after a significant experience. So the recognition of self through significant experiences in our life, it's such an eye-awakener. This particular degree is one astrologers call a degree of practical enlightenment. Dr. Jones, professor of philosophy, says this time is about the unlimited service of life to the special requirements of an individual's intelligence or understanding and our ability to learn what we need to know when facing unfamiliar things. He says this is a universal sensitiveness of mind which commands all knowledge and receives messages through intuition. So our intuition is really, it's almost like, you know, when you think of Uranus, the planet, the symbol for it looks like it has ears. And so we as human, our ears are really being almost like opened wider to be able to hear things intuitively without even the communication. But with this new system moving in, there's a lot of confusion. It's almost like two trains. You've got us, our solar system, and another system moving in, which I call the Libra system. Our system is a very Aryan race, and which is the opposite sign of Libra. And with this Libra system moving in, it's kind of shaking us up a bit here on Earth. So the key word is enlightenment. And when functioning positively is a complete mastery of all things. And so this begins the activation of these themes wherever in your chart 22 degrees Leo falls. If you have any signs, any planets in your chart that are right around 21, 22 degrees of Leo, you have some major things in your life going on. Last summer in July, as you heard me say before, when Jupiter moved into the constellation of Leo, you heard me say on the show that the keepers of the Holy Grail have been activated. This was intuited to me through my spiritual guidance. By this I mean that the time is here for us to speak from our hearts, to express our true colors, to shine like gold, for our child within to come out and play and to have fun instead of working like slaves all the time. Important for us to follow our hearts. Important for us to stop and just play and enjoy life. And it's a time to acknowledge our children and how very important they are today and for the future. They need to be seen. They need to be heard. They need to be listened to. Those old sayings of children are to be not seen or seen and not heard, those need to disappear. Our children need to be heard, and they need to be seen, and they need to be listened to. Here's the timeline. The next conjunction of Venus and Jupiter at 29 Leo will occur on August 4th with Venus retrograde. That means that our relationships, our security, our value systems are going to go through a transition of retroactive, meaning we're going to go back over some things in those areas. The final conjunction or conjoining will happen at 16 Virgo on October 25th between these two planets. Obviously, this should help us understand more, which is what Jupiter inspires us to do, and expand, which is Venus and Jupiter together, understand and expand our energetic influence of teaching us how to express ourselves in a more loving way, in consideration for others, and to accept that we're all human, we all have wonderful talents, but we also have failings that we come here to learn how to manage. These two will be in conjunction, Jupiter and Venus, through mid-August, and then be fairly far apart until mid-October when they finally come back into alignment or conjunction. So we get one Venus-Jupiter fusion at 22 Leo, then we get another one at 29 Leo over the next 6 weeks. And today, again, July 15th, 2015. So if you can, take a moment after sunset to check out the western sky, and you'll see a very bright twin star phenomena that is really quite beautiful. Leo is the one that says, look at me, I shine, I'm beautiful, I want attention. So do give it some attention. I think that you'll find that if you make a wish, it does come true. We probably won't be able to see that second conjunction since the sun will be too close, but the final conjunction in mid-Virgo should be bright and visible in the eastern sky just before sunrise. And a brief note on why it's not the Star of Bethlehem. Though no one has the exact day, and many of the historical Bible references could not have happened, census, tax time, and more, if we use the Star of Bethlehem as a guide, then it is likely the historical Jesus, you know, the historical time of Jesus when he was born at 7 BCE. That year we had a Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Pisces, not Jupiter conjunct Venus, which is kind of a lot of people think that, but it was actually Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Pisces, which would have been extremely bright and on the midheaven during Virgo late at night that year. So furthermore, historically, astrologers have acknowledged and foretold that it was the alignment of Jupiter and Saturn that was the true Star of Bethlehem that guided the Magi astrologers to find the baby Jesus child. And of course, it would have been easier to travel from the east during spring and summer, arriving at Bethlehem when the sun was in Virgo and Jupiter and Saturn were on the midheaven in the middle of the night. And if you were astrologically inclined, you would really be completely in understanding. And I hope you do. Alignment means that these planets are right beside each other. It means that there's a conjoining. To sum it up, we should just enjoy this Venus-Jupiter conjunction as it promises us something expansively sweet, valuable in the area of our lives in which this conjunction falls or occurs in your birth chart. So if it's in your 7th house, it's going to highlight your relationships, your business relationships. If it's in your 11th house of your chart, it's going to highlight your friends, your community, and it's going to bring to light a special recognition of that area. So, and further, we should expect a significant movement of these Leonian themes when Mars crosses over Leo at 22 during the second week of September. Until my next show, I want to say to everyone who watches Turn to the Stars, I really, truly appreciate all your support. And I want to remind you one more time about the Psychic and Holistic Fair and the very special 12-foot by 12-foot dual crystal grid that we have there available for a very beneficial, peaceful, harmonious balance and bringing us all to that place. And so until the next show, always remember, turn to the stars and you will find your answers there. And I look forward to seeing you this Saturday at the yard. And again, it's our 5th year anniversary and our 30th Psychic and Holistic Fair. Take care, that you be well. I'm Andrea Klim, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. Take good care. I'll see you next week.